You already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ RichieSkye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea. Skye Squad, we are back in the building. What is happening? We are talking Married to Medicine. What episode is this? This is season 11, episode 4. It's called Flannels and Fake Apologies. I feel like we're always on the show. Like the theme of this show is apologize, apologize, apologize. Do you mean your apology? Are we going to apologize again and then do the same thing? Apologies. Is it too late to apologize? I don't know. Okay. Is it ever too late to apologize? That's a good question. Is it ever too late to apologize? Somebody put that in the chat. I'm of the mindset that once you apologize to me, I kind of got to let it go, because I feel like an apology is an acknowledgement of a wrongdoing, and that's really all I need. That's it. Period. But if you keep doing the same thing to me over and over and over again, then I ain't gonna be able to accept that apology no more after a while. Okay, you can apologize, and then I'm gonna have to say, you know what, I accept it, and I'm gonna just have to remove myself from your life. Okay. Anyway. So it says the ladies enjoy a day out at the ranch. Heavenly and T have a saloon showdown that threatens to derail the first night. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, I would rate this episode an 8.2 out of 10. The reason I rate an 8.2 out of 10 is because, similar to Dr. Heavenly's YouTube providing further context, Sweet Tea's YouTube is also providing context. And the way she ripped into Dr. Simone, I was like, whoa, okay. Whoa, ride a cowgirl, okay? Because she definitely wore Dr. Simone out. And we'll get to why in a little bit. But before we do that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and tell me what your rating of this episode of Married to Medicine is. All right. So we begin this episode, essentially, everybody's getting to the dude ranch. I had my reservations about what this would look like, especially because I'm like, y'all always in Florida. Like, it seemed like that's the only place they can get y'all is to Florida. Like, I've complained about this before, so I'm not gonna become a broken record with it, like some of these ladies and their merry-go-round relationships. But what I will say is, when I saw the place, I actually felt like, oh, this actually does look kind of fun. Like, this actually looks like, it's kind of a cute little setup. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to have like a glamping experience, but you don't want to be laying on the ground, I felt like, and everybody had their own accommodations, so I thought it was perfect, actually. And now, if you really wanted to create some chaos, you would have made them share. But given that the trips be so low budget on this show, let's not put them through any extra trauma. Okay. So, the ladies sit down for their first official meal, which is like a lunch. And, you would think that this was Toya's trip. To be quite honest with you, the way she is kind of leading and directing the conversation, and maybe just also producing. And I feel like it's almost in an unnatural way. Because, as Phaedra is giving her spiel about, let's all come together. Let's kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Toya is like, no, girl, we don't know you well enough. Tell us about you. Tell us tell us. And to that I say, That is the most unnatural way to get to know someone. And I don't understand why Toya would even expect her to give you any details in that manner. What happened to finesse? You know what I'm saying? Especially because of Toya's previous overt attempts at getting tea from Phaedra. Because I think what Phaedra knows at this point, being a seasoned reality TV star, is when someone is trying to provoke her, right? Or to, it's like, girl, do you want to get to know me or do you want my tea? And what it's given from Toya is, I want your tea, because there's a lack of subtlety there. Okay. And granted, Toya is just doing the reality TV work. So I can't have fault her for it. But in doing the reality TV work in 2024, we probably need to go about it in a more subtle way. But I also understand that we only have 42 minutes of episode. So somebody's got to get this train moving. And let me just confront you in front of the group and see what you do. She's not going to open up to you. And Dr. Heavenly was like basically telling Phaedra, like, this is not going to be a thing. And I want to go back to something that we were talking about this past weekend, is this interview that Quad did with the Big Tigger Morning Show when she went, Dr. Heavenly were on there. Like, for somebody to have said that Phaedra was benched by Candy, allegedly, right? Or benched by Bravo because of Candy or something like that. So, whatever she said. They sure are getting along rather well in this episode. So again, I have to wonder, when did this meeting happen that Phaedra allegedly tried to get you fired? Was it before this episode aired, or was it right after? Or when did you say this? I guess I'm not the timeline for me. I just still don't get it. But and I know people had explained it to me. But as I'm watching the episode and I'm watching them kiki and kaka and spray each other with body spray, I'm kind of like, it don't look like y'all got much of an issue to me. But what do I know? Anyway, so Toya's inquisition of Phaedra goes absolutely nowhere. Phaedra herself willingly admits that she's a relatively calm person. She has been that way much of her time on reality television. Phaedra's best moments typically come there's a different way you have to approach Phaedra if you're going to try to get a reaction from her. And she's not going to give it to you in this way. You're going to have to figure out some other type of way to do that. And it's probably not going to happen if you barely know her. So the better way to get at Phaedra, if you want a reaction from her, is to really genuinely try to get to know her. And then based on Sweet Tea's YouTube channel, it doesn't really seem like anybody outside of the core five are really actually all talking to each other in any way, shape, or form. And Quad may or may not be included in that mix based on the fact that she doesn't talk to them. And it sounds like most of them don't even talk to Sweet Tea as well. So I just go back to everybody posting Sweet Tea and Dr. G on their page. And I'm like, dang, was this all for show? Like, I mean, or did y'all really want them in the group? Because I feel like you have, and maybe it's because I'm able to hear Sweet Tea's commentary. I'm able to more accurately get a better understanding of her lens and what I feel like I'm seeing, which is a lot of regurgitated drama on this show and no new elements to be explored, right? Apparently, and we'll talk about some missed opportunities in a minute as well. But hopefully we'll have Dr. Heavenly's live to then also put further context to this as well and see where things shake out, right? So, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie, they end up having a little conversation outside of their trailer. And, they talk about whether or not Phaedra will actually open up on this trip or not. And, I think Dr. Jackie put it best is that Phaedra is trying to get to she's trying to understand this group and their dynamics. And I think in any other scenario, that would be okay, but we do need some activity from Phaedra in order to really better appreciate her on this show. So it's a fine line that we do need to figure out a good balance of. But the fact of the matter is, we know that Phaedra's not going to be on the show much longer. So it's honestly kind of a moot point to continue to discuss because she's not going to be here at the end. I mean, by the end of the road, she's not going to be here. So there's that. The ladies then head out to what looks like a little dance party, a little jamboree, so they can learn how to line dance. The episode shows them just, ready to dive into it. But before they do that, they have to have the obligatory discussions. And as they're preparing for this, that's where you see the interaction between Quad and Phaedra, and they're spraying each other with some type of butt cheek spray. I don't really know because they run in late. And Toya, yet again, feels like taking this leadership position, feels like everybody is being fake and not really addressing the issues, right? Dr. Contessa, Dr. Heavenly have issues, Quad and Simone have issues, and Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly have issues. So she calls out the fakery and she's using examples. And I forget there's a back and forth between her and Simone, but then Toya starts pointing out, well, you could say that Dr. Heavenly is fake, or you could say that Dr. Jackie is boring, but you can't say something about me. And Dr. Jackie is like, well, girl, I could say that you have a lack of substance. And everybody's just like, yes, Jackie. Even Dr. Heavenly's like, that was too far. How, Sway? How was it too far? She just called her boring. And this is the most activity we've had from Dr. Jackie since last season, where she had a brief showdown with Sweet Tea. Like, we really otherwise don't really get an engaged Dr. Jackie. I mean, unless she's talking to a vice president. So to me, if you call somebody, if you calling me boring and I call you lack of substance, then I don't understand why anybody has a problem with it. It's Dr. Heavenly, especially not you. But also, maybe Dr. Heavenly is looking out for Dr. Jackie's image. But I think that if we're going to be real, and if that's as real as we're going to get from Dr. Jackie about how she feels about Toya, then I say let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Because I didn't see it as being that bad. But Dr. Jackie immediately apologizes. And so Dr. Simone says, well, I think that, you have said that apologies are meant for you and not the other person. And so Toya's like, Sweet Tea, can you tell Dr. Heavenly that this girl hurt your feelings? Because Sweet Tea says, she feels like the apologies have to be genuine. And so Toya's like, can you tell Dr. Heavenly that, she hurt your feelings? And, Dr. Heavenly does apologize, but it also comes with I hope you apologize for the stuff that you said about me, because your man cheats and mine does not. So later on, when Simone tells Sweet Tea that she should have been more vulnerable with Dr. Jackie, and Sweet Tea drags her in her video, it is worth the dragging, okay? Because Dr. Simone, if your problem is that Sweet Tea needs to acquiesce to Dr. Heavenly, then you also have to then hold Dr. Heavenly to that same standard. Because she basically says that Sweet Tea was nasty to Dr. Heavenly, but I think unless we missed something in an edit, Dr. Heavenly just called her man a cheater, even in the apology. So that leads to Sweet Tea clapping back at her. Dr. Heavenly claps back. There's some words of being called low and ghetto and trash. And it's kind of like, if Dr. Simone, you're going to coach one, then you need to be coaching both. And if you feel like you can bring them together better than anybody else, then do it. But otherwise, chastising Sweet Tea while not saying a word to Dr. Heavenly is also, I mean, it's just like it becomes one-sided, right? And I know your allegiance is likely going to be to the person that you've known the longest, but you know this girl don't really have that many friends on this show after y'all done hyped her up enough to be on it by posting her any and everywhere on social media. All I'm saying is, if you're going to chastise one, then you got to chastise both. And that's that. It's got to work all the way around. And I think that that would create more compelling television, because then everyone is holding everyone accountable versus you need to not let her get to you, when we will see at certain points, hopefully this season, because I live for Heavenly and Simone screaming match. You know, Simone, you will go there too. So Sweet Tea, in response to that, is asked about how she felt about Dr. Simone saying that. And she basically says, Dr. Simone needs to shut the F up. You are not her mother. Okay. And she basically says, are you stupid? Like, let's not be stupid. She literally says that in the video, y'all. I was like, oh, Dr. Simone is not gonna like this. But the sentiment was, you're not in this situation. You're chastising me. You're not holding anybody else accountable. And you're saying I'm the one that's being nasty. So no, shut up. Baby, I rewound that thing about 5 times. No, 5, 6, about 7. Because it took me a couple of minutes to make the thumbnail. So I kept rewinding it because I was like, ooh, I was kind of like whack her again. Because in my mind, I was like, at the end of the day, that's how I feel. You know, I kind of feel like it's this one group over here that's gonna stick beside each other until they get tired of Quad, and then they'll send her on her way. And then there's Sweet Tea, Dr. Contessa, and Phaedra, who are on this interesting mix of an island of circumstance, right? They have all become closer because of the circumstances surrounding the clique and the dynamic of the show. Which is why later on you will hear in the preview a statement that is made that alleges that Dr. Contessa and Sweet Tea aren't real friends. But I say, in response to that, what do you do? I said the same thing about Garcelle and Sutton. What do you do when there's a Fox Force 5 on your show and you're not in that mix? You are, by just sheer human nature, going to relate to the person that is also on the outs. That's sociology. That's how social dynamics work. It just is. And depending on whether or not they like Quad that day, they will do the same to her and usher her right on out of that group. And Quad even says that in that interview. Dr. Heavenly says, my marriage is not for sale, in that interview with Big Tigger on the Big Tigger Morning Show. And I respect that. I respect that at all costs. She is going to protect that marriage, because at the end of the day, whether this show ends, she will still have her marriage intact. So I get it. But Quad, on the other hand, says, well, I don't have those privileges on this show. I never have. Nothing. I'm not protected in any way, shape, or form on this show. She says it. She says it. So the group dynamics are very interesting, but they're starting to become a lot more transparent because we're just as we go along. Time typically tells how these things shape up, right? So the group does do their line dance, which I think is always a fun thing to do. I've always wanted to have a Western themed birthday party. Always wanted to do that. Last year, I knew I was gonna do like a Richie's rodeo type of situation where we would, it would be like a rodeo style brunch or something like that. Like I just knew that that was going. And however it is that I get to go out and in person go from city to city to meet with my community and to party with y'all, we'll still do it. But I did think that this line dance was a great. I love stuff like this, so I love it. I love them just all up in the cowgirl era and just and getting all up into it. Even Dr. Jackie and her white, was it slingbacks? Did she have on kitten heel? I don't even know what she had on, but it was very much a Dr. Jackie outfit. Okay, she looked good though. Um, then we get a scene that I did find very interesting. Everybody's outside by the bonfire. Doctors Simone and Dr. Jackie, they go back inside because the fire pit smoke, I guess, is bothering them. And of course, you have the rest of the ladies sitting outside by the fire, and Quad tries to broker some type of conversation between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Contessa. Dr. Heavenly is giving very much not interested in having this conversation. I'm not getting emotionally invested in this anymore. And Dr. Contessa says it. She's like, she's looking like she's uninterested. So we'll talk about this later. And in that moment, though, I did appreciate Quad trying to have a moment to bridge that gap because she acknowledges how close they used to be. Dr. Jackie, I think, also tried to get Dr. Heavenly later on to realize it. And in those two scenes, I really felt like I liked these scenes because they showed Dr. Heavenly. We see the fiery side to her, but I think that there is something about that relationship with Dr. Contessa that really did hurt her. That the loss of it, something hurt her in that situation so bad that she is afraid to open up emotionally anymore. And I think that they both are. I think that they both are now afraid of emotionally bonding in any way, shape, or form because ultimately with this show, you have to have open and honest dialogue. And at the end of the day, Dr. Heavenly also is doing what she has to do to promote the show by doing her YouTubes and answering people's questions. And unfortunately, based on what was being shown on the screen, she was having to answer questions that may have felt like a boundary crossing thing for Dr. Contessa. And so, how do they work their way back to each other? I'm much more interested in this than I am Dr. Simone and Quad, mostly because I don't ever really feel like I don't think that Dr. Simone likes I don't think so. I just don't think Dr. Simone really likes Quad like that. I think she tolerates her. Do I think that Quad really needs a friendship with Dr. Simone? No, I think that Quad is probably living her best life. And that's just that. And I think that they can be very happy existing in the group and not being very close. And that's okay. That's okay. They both have things going on. Simone's a successful doctor. She's doing her doctoring thing. She's got the kids. She got to clean up after them kids. Quad has a new man, a new house, and I mean, not the new house, new car. So there's a lot of things that they both have going on that I really don't feel like that there's anything that they need to solve because I really feel like I am uninterested because they aren't. We do the next day, like I said, see a conversation between Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie about the relationship with Dr. Contessa. And again, like I said, it's a moment, I think, of vulnerability, a silent moment of vulnerability. But Dr. Heavenly admits that she does not want to emotionally open herself back up to Dr. Contessa. And this is the stuff that I want to see more of on this show. I'm here for the fun of this show. I'm here for the medicine of this show. I'm here for the authentic drama and the authentic resolve. And I'm here for the authentic emotion of not knowing whether or not I can really open myself back up to a deep friendship with someone that has hurt someone else, or hurt me that deeply. That's what I want to see. I want to see, can that be resolved? But the pushing and shoving and trying to get to know Phaedra, it's a lost cause. So I think that Toya should look elsewhere. And apparently there was a moment where Dr. Heavenly and Toya got into it at one point in the episode that they showed a flashback of it. And I would have been much more interested to see that, because I don't mind a Toya Dr. Heavenly showdown. I don't mind that. At this point, that would be new. It would be a revisiting, but it would give me something. Then the next thing, it's the ladies do some, I don't know, they go out with some animals or something like that. I can't remember. And then they go and they're getting ready for their Beyonce inspired photo shoot, for which, they are essentially, going to be taking like cowboy Carter style photos. And Toya is judging them all and reading them all for filth for their looks, except for Dr. Simone, which I think Simone pulled it off and looked good. And so we'll see how that pans out next week. I thought we were going to get the square up hoe moment that happens. Apparently, maybe next week. Maybe it doesn't happen next week. I don't know. But at least they didn't give us a to be continued. Okay. I highly implore you to go and watch Sweet Tea's vlog and recap of the episode. It is very, very insightful, especially hearing her thoughts and her feelings about how certain cast members are working to like produce. And it's just very interesting. I think it's an interesting look, especially as someone who is new to the franchise and has a different perspective on, drama that has been playing out for quite a few years now. And I think that some of that drama needs to be shaken up a bit. I do. Like when Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie were beefing, that was so off and so new. And I'm not advocating for people to just fall out for no reason, but it was a natural occurrence that actually happened, and it really affected the group. I want to see those types of new things developing. And sometimes you need new people in order for that to happen. I'm not saying recast by any means. I'm saying add to. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So I know that there's a new doctor that's coming on board. So hopefully she will shake things up in a way that needs to be shaken. I am at this point getting hoarse. So I think I know what time it is. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and I will, of course, catch you in the next video. Now that you've watched today's video, let's get into this group trip to Cape Town, South Africa. Yes, y'all, Skye Squad, we are hitting South Africa, and we are hitting it hard. April 10th through the 17th of 2025. You can click the link in the description of this video to get more information and to reserve your spot. Now, we're going to keep this intimate because we have a lot to do. We are going to be looking at real estate. We're going to be learning about retirement and permanent visas, dual citizenship, buying and purchasing land. We are going to be looking at it all because we want options in South Africa, baby. And listen, Cape Town is one of my favorite cities. So of course, we're going to be doing some of my favorite things. We are going to be hitting the wineries. We are going on a safari. We're going to Table Mountain. We're going to some of my favorite restaurants. Let me tell you, one of them is Gold Star, baby. If you know, you know. We're going to be meeting with some expats who have relocated from the United States to Cape Town as well. This is going to be a luxury experience, okay? So we're talking doing the absolute most. So if you've ever wanted to go to Cape Town, South Africa, but maybe you didn't have the group to go with, maybe you just didn't have the right people that wanted to go and experience it with you, this is an opportunity for you to come with us. Now, I only have about 10 to 12 spots available. Yes, because again, I'm trying to keep this thing intimate, and I know that what type of experience I want it to be. So get in while you can, y'all. Trust me, in 2025, we are going to be needing all the options that we can get. And I am going to do my utmost to bring us the most that we can possibly get in and out of the country. So come with me to South Africa. The group trip is going to be lit April 10th through the 17th. Go ahead and click the link in this description of this video so that you can reserve your spot today. Cape Town, South Africa awaits.